Shirin Danesh is a smart, well-connected executive and leadership coach and mentor to futuristic, ambitious, and kind leaders. She's the founder and director of Advantive Advisory, a consulting firm specializing in growing executives to be and connecting them to their well-deserved networks and positions. She is a time bender. Her superpower is fast-tracking growth and progress. She is creating a series of books and programs to move her clients from 2D of theory to the 3D of life. And before we start this episode, a quick word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth, and the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program. Here's Jane, a graduate who says, and I quote, "The Deep Wealth Mastery Program prevented me from making what would have been one of the biggest mistakes of my career. I almost signed on the dotted line with an unsolicited offer that I now realize would have shortchanged my hard work and my future had I accepted that offer. Deep Wealth Mastery has tilted the playing field to my advantage." Or how about Lynn? Wow, he gets right to the point, and I quote, "Deep Wealth Mastery is one of the best investments ever made because you'll get an ROI of 100 times that. Anyone who doesn't go through this will lose millions." And as you're listening to these testimonials, are you wondering if you have the time? Are you even thinking that you've got this covered? You have the advisors or people in your network? Well, I got to tell you, these myths, they're often behind the 90% failure rate for liquidity events. Think about it. You have one chance to get it right for your financial freedom. You really want to make it count. And when it comes to time, let's hear what William has to say. We just got in this testimonial. William says, and I quote, "I didn't have the time for Deep Wealth Mastery, but I made the time and I'm glad I did. What I learned goes far beyond any other executive program or coach I've experienced." So what do you think? As I hear that, that's exactly what gets me out of bed every day. That's my mission. That's the team's mission here at Deep Wealth, to literally change the social fabric of society, one business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. And my Deep Wealth Nation, what I want you to know, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it isn't theory. It's from the trenches. It's the only one based on a 9-figure deal. And that deal, that was my deal. You know my story. I said no to a 7-figure offer. I created a system that later on, myself and my business partners, we said yes to a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure deal. That's what we now call the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, or the Scale for Ultimate Sales system. It's built by business owners for business owners. So if you're interested in growing your profits, for preparing for a future liquidity event, and that may be 2 years away, it could be 22 years away, whatever the time may be, you want to do this now, and you want to optimize your post-exit life. Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. To get started, email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, SUCCESS, at deepwealth.com. You'll receive all the information about the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, or better yet, why not hop on a complimentary strategy call? We'll go through exactly where your business is today and what's standing between you and your financial independence and your dreams. So that's where you want to be. You want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders just like you. They're looking to grow their businesses, create market disruptions, and unlock their financial freedom to get what they deserve. And whether you've been in business for 3 years, 40 years, you're a startup, you're in manufacturing, you're in high tech, low tech, whatever the case may be, come on in and network with other business owners. It's a safe space. It's a confidential space with business owners, with businesses just like you, because they all want to lock in their financial freedom and enjoy both success and fulfillment. So again, the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Please send an email to success@deepwealth.com. Deep Wealth Nation, welcome to another episode of the Deep Wealth Podcast. Well, let me ask you this. Where you are today, is that where you want to be? And of course, your answer is no, not at all, Jeffrey. I've got plans, I've got goals, I've got a vision. Well, you heard it in the official introduction. We have a very special guest today. We're going to be talking about how to take your game to the next level, how to take from where you are over here to get to the proverbial there. So, Shirin, welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. An absolute pleasure to have you with us. And there's always a story behind the story. So, what's your story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
Hello, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, there is a story behind this. The story is why I started to work on this line of business, because my background is technology and business transformation. And one day I decided that I'm going to be doing executive coaching and consulting, everything to do with executive branding. And I was like, It's funny because whole my life, I've been the person that helps people to get jobs, friends and family. And why I could do that, because I personally had changed my jobs and roles so often that my parents used to think that I'm getting sacked every 6 months. What they didn't know is that I always go from what I currently am working on, once I learn it, once I master it, once I get comfortable, to the next challenge. And that challenge normally was something that either was paying more or was a better opportunity. From my 30s to my 40s, I had so many opportunities and so many new gigs, and I started to go for so many different positions that I suddenly became that girl that knows how to A, go for opportunities, B, get them without actually applying for them. And then I started to teach that to others. So that was the foundation of the whole idea behind my business, Executive Elevate.
What a terrific story. And by the way, I loved how in the official introduction, you call yourself a time bender and your ability just to fast track growth and progress. So I'm going to ask a question, and you would be perfectly right to say, well, Jeffrey, it really depends. Every person's journey is unique. Every individual, well, they're an individual, they're different. But that said, generally speaking, when you've been working with executives, when you've been working with people, what is it that as entrepreneurs and business founders, what's holding us back? Are you seeing some common patterns? And if you are, what would be the top one or two patterns?
I talk about being unapologetic about going and wanting to get to higher profile roles. And what
Mhm.
I learned in talking to more than 1,400 executives and senior managers, that's a really large number. You would realize that there is pattern, and that pattern is the fact that they state and declare that, okay, I want to get that. But what is important in terms of getting there, and that's the essence of what I do, is that how can you get there faster based on your initial timeline? There is an exercise that we do that we ask people, okay, when you see future, where is the future for you? Is it 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? Jeff, you will always be surprised to realize future for people are different numbers. So the question is, how can you get to your future timeline, whatever it is, faster? And there are methods to that. But what is common is that everyone thinks, and that's the shift that needs to happen, that they need to go through all the steps that they are imagining, or they have learned, or they've heard from others to get to where they want. And that's not true. So once you shift that and say, okay, I believe I get there in 3 years, what is it that I need to know today to shave a year, 6 months out of that? That's the work we do.
And so let's talk about this because I know you've put together all kinds of programs and different strategies. So, what does that look like? I'm coming to you and I'm saying, okay, Shirin, this is my vision. Here I am today. And in 5 years out, in 10 years out, I want to be doing this or I want to be doing that. Where do you start with something like that? How long is this going to take? And what kind of results can I expect?
Firstly, we'll do a diagnosis audit of where you are and where. But the work we do is about positioning you in the program, actually in our core program. The work we do in Executive Elevate Accelerator, we make you headhuntable. Or if you are a person that want to transition out of the corporate, we make you launch ready. That's the first part segment of this whole work. So when we start, we will do a diagnosis is where you are. Are you seen by your industry? Are you noticed? Is there anything to your name? So we have a framework that has 5 aspects to it. One is your leadership identity. Second one is your expertise. Are people know you? Are you sharp for what you are knowing? The third one is your presence. Is anyone seeing you outside your 9 to 5 for what you can offer? And you know how it's funny because we go to work and the only people that they will see us are the ones that are in our corporate space, in our building, in our space. But when you want to be known and when you want to be headhuntable, you need to be seen in bigger space, wider space. The fourth aspect that we check is your network. And everyone talks about network, but what's the meaning of network that works for you, that sends opportunities to you? That's a different conversation. And the fifth one is negotiation. So when someone starts, we look at these five aspects and we baseline in a way that they can see, okay, what's the work that needs to be done. After that, work begins. Of these five aspects, not everyone needs to work on everything. So the program is designed based on three principles. One is that it's tailored to you. For example, you are fantastic at networking. Look at your network, look at the number of people that you have interviewed over the years. You have literally everyone in your network. So that's not a challenge for you. But maybe negotiation, maybe something else, but someone else is different. Then first characteristic of program is personalized to the executive, to what they need today. Seven aspect, the second part of it is that we look at everything of all those five things at the same time. We don't say, oh, you do this first and then this one first and then next one first, unlike MBA. So MBA is one program for everyone. It's one way. You will just get the download and do the homeworks. So our program, tailor-made, look at everything at the same time. And the third thing is that you get direct feedback as a customer and future executive directly from senior coaches, myself and other senior coaches that we have, that they have deep expertise in one area. And the key thing is if they are part of the group, there are so many other executive and senior managers that they provide feedback as well.
And so let me ask you this, Shirin. As an entrepreneur and business owner, I'm thinking of actually my grandfather, Ruben, who always said, Jeffrey, it's not who you are, it's who you know. And that success, we can be very talented and skilled if we don't have that network, if we don't have the right people in there. Yes, we can become successful. It can take more time, or perhaps we won't achieve the level of success that we could otherwise when we have the right network around us. So, in addition to what we've been talking about, what can I, as an entrepreneur, begin to do, Sharon, in terms of building out my network and not
Mm.
just calling my network a bunch of names I have in some CRM or some kind of a database, but actually having a meaningful network so that if I call someone, they know who I am, they remember me, and it's a strong network that can really make all the difference. What are some strategies that I can be doing?
There are two mindset shifts behind it. One is network where I belong, a group of people that I belong. This is a concept of belonging, not a concept of asset of a database of names. So if you truly think of which group, which circle do I belong to? This
Uh-huh.
is the topic of the second book that I have written. And if you look at the logo of that book, it's just lots of circles. Some of them have overlap, some of them don't. We belong to a circle of our corporate space, our sport, our kids' school gathering. Some people, their religious space in circles. So firstly, if we want to be good at networking, just understanding where we belong. And
Mhm.
is it the circle is there any extra circle that I would like to join and be part of? The second thing is networking is a game of one-to-one. It is made of lots of little nodes that the connection that is between one person and another person. It is a fallacy that we think network is a large group of people. The concept of having good network or having good relationships is how many deep one-on-one relationship you have in those circles that you belong to. So
Okay.
when you
Mhm.
pick up when you send the signal, they say, "Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I would move something in my calendar. Oh yes, sorry, I couldn't get you a call, but how is your time tomorrow morning? I'm gonna call you." That is the secret. One-on-one relationships, not group.
Okay, yes. And so what I'm hearing you say, and you can share, Jeffrey, you're on base, you're off base, it's not necessarily the quantity. So I can have 5,000 people in my network, but if I'm not in touch with them, obviously, they don't know me, I don't necessarily know them. I met them at an event sometime, but that's been years ago, then it's not going to be optimal. Now, Shirin, I know in the Deep Wealth community, we constantly hear, Jeffrey, I just don't have the time. I'm busy running my business. I have my personal responsibilities, my family responsibilities. I'm not even keeping in touch with my friends. And yes, I'd love to have a network, I just don't have the time. How do we deal with that, Shirin? What would be some insights that you can share with us?
My banker will tell you it's all about increasing ROI of your efforts. All right. So my background is in financial services. I've been a person that have always been in somehow in banks or financial services. So ROI or cost of delay is the most important metric. It's not that we don't have time. You can always find the time. It's just what is the how we spend that time in order to get the most out of that allocated time. That is the question that we need to focus on.
Mhm.
So, for example, one of the exercises that we do in our programs is that, okay, after people map what currently we have in their network and decide what is their goals, then they will decide, okay, who are the people that we need to connect in a month? So we develop a networking calendar in
Mhm.
a way that is working with their based on their family or they travel. A lot of executives travel a fair bit. So
Mhm.
that's actually adding to complexity of time and location. And from there, we will work out who are the best people that we can help and they can help us. So it's a two-way thing. Another thing that we work a lot in concept of networking is that what do you take to others? What do you take to this circle? In the past, whenever we wanted to go to a party, what would we do? We used to take a, dish something with us, little tokens of friendship. Why do we forget that in corporate space, entrepreneurial space? So when we think of, okay, I want to do networking, deepen my relationship with people that we have, we define what is our goal. We will go to find out what is someone else's goal so we can align, not tomorrow morning, but in the future. And then we think of what we can take to other people. In short period of time, we will realize that we have deepened the relationship based on alignment of our plans, long-term goals, based on what we can offer. And that's how you get the best out of the 1 hour a month that you invest in networking.
Okay, absolutely loving what I'm hearing there. And by the way, Deep Nation, go to the show notes, click on the link, get the book, Level Up from Unseen Manager to Sought After Leader. And it's a whole trio of leadership that's there. And you'll get these insights that we're just scratching the surface on. Shrina, I have a question for you because I know when we speak about networking and what you've just shared, I've applied many of the same principles. I've had tremendous success with that. There are some people who will say, well, Jeffrey, that's really fake or contrived, or there's a motive behind that because you want to get something from that person and it's not really real. I don't feel comfortable doing that. For someone who's thinking that or telling that story to themselves, what would you say to them?
That is very common. And the higher you go as the senior manager, executive, VP, you are more at risk of being in a transactional conversation. That's why I firstly invite everyone to see network as something that you do for yourself, not for your company. So just connect with people that you truly enjoy this man or woman's company to connect and have them in your network. That's
Mm-hmm.
number one. And it is true meaning of leadership, Jeff, that I don't connect with anyone that is just for sake of business. I
Mm-hmm.
want the core essence of networking is building lifelong friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout that friendship, a lot of opportunities will come. Even if it doesn't, we just had really great time, fun in knowing each other, spending time with each other, exchanging ideas. So number one is that to get yourself out of transactional situation,
Mm-hmm.
know that this is your decision. Second one, a lot of time vendors or partners will host events for us that we go to, and we feel obliged that we have to buy something. And that's why a lot of executives avoid going to these ones or keep it really short or dry.
Mm-hmm.
And the most complaint to me is, Sheena, I really hate a small talk. I really don't want to go and be sold to, but I have to go. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, why don't we change this whole story? Go there to see if you can belong to this circle. Do you
Mm-hmm.
want to, firstly? Second, find a couple of people that you can have one-on-one connection with that is not about a transaction tomorrow morning. and state that I would really like hanging out with you. I heard your talk about what so and so, and I thought, you know what, you're a good person that I would like to be in my network. Would you like to have a coffee? In that coffee, we exchange goals, not the needs. Jeff's goal is to grow his podcast. Shirin's goal is to do this. So we exchange goals.
Hmm.
If in the next 2, 3 months something comes out of it, great.
Hmm.
But now I've added someone new,
Hmm.
smart, capable, giving to my network.
Hmm.
That's it.
And so, Shereen, let me ask you this because first, I love what you're talking about in the book. And again, Deep Wealth Nation, please go to the show notes, click on the link, get the book. What you're talking about, yes, it's terrific. I know for myself, and I'm not alone in this, I'll meet someone terrific. We will network, and perhaps it was at a conference, perhaps it was at some kind of an event, or perhaps a stakeholder is having some kind of get together, and we're there and we're meeting and talking. And yes, it's fresh of mind the following day, and then the next week, and then life happens. And things are getting busy, and there's going to be other events and other issues that are coming up. So once we've established, we've taken the time, we've met someone at an event, we perhaps did a follow up with them, whether it was in person or virtual or something in between. What would be some of the strategies and how we use those strategies to keep that alive? There's that old saying, Shirin, out of sight, out of mind. And if you and I met at a conference, as an example, and you and I then perhaps the following week met up over a coffee or a tea and we're talking about things, but then that was it. If I reached out a year from now, or if you reached out a year from now, chances are it's going to be a distant memory, if anything at all. So, how do we, in our busy lives, with all the other responsibilities that we have, how do we keep that network alive?
I answered that one with a strategic way of going about it and one technique. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So the strategic way of it for someone that business and career, both, is part of their lives, which is for almost all of us. Networking is a stream of activity. It's a strategic game that is a long term and forever. So
Mm-hmm.
for as long as someone is working, either in
Mm-hmm.
corporate or for himself or herself, needs to have a stream of networking as one stream of work with your work,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is. So that's the first mindset shift. This is not something that you switch it on and off. It's not when sometime you're looking for a job or for a deal, or it's not something that you would do when you need to raise funds.
Mm-hmm.
That is the mistake that most people will make. They will go, this is exactly like this. You go to your neighbor only when you need something. Can I borrow this from you? Well, you don't do that. You don't go to your network when you need a job or raise fund or a deal. You will build a network and keep it alive. And once you need it, you go obviously and request to have something that you need. So that's number one. Weaving networking to our calendar is the most important thing. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we increase it, sometimes we decrease it. But if we drop it, it's like you tell me, Shireen, oh, I dropped doing accounting in my business. I'm like, how is that possible? You always have it going, but end of the year, end of quarter, obviously, is a little bit more than normal. All right, so that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a parallel, forever stream of activity, networking, alongside our business and careers. The second technique that I want to share with everyone and is this. Whenever you meet someone and you will have the initial connection, always say, put a time in your mental calendar and their mental calendar that I'll set the intention to talk to you before end of this quarter. And then I normally say that, and most of my clients and now students, they do that. We give a mental cue to the other side. For example, I met with the CEO of a very large company that I know he doesn't have time for me next week. I said, may I know that you have all the money in the world. May I buy you a drink sometime by end of June? And I will work with your EA to find that time. So it wasn't, can I meet you next week? So I just put a mental note that, and
Mm-hmm.
I made sure that he remembers me because I've made fun of him, his multi-million-dollar business. But me, this little girl, I'm going saying, can I buy you a drink? So it's creating a mental note in someone's calendar that you will reach out. Another tiny tip for everyone that is doing this one seriously and trying to grow or deepen your relationships and your network is that if it gets canceled, do not let it go. You have done a lot of work, and to get to that event in the calendar, do not let it go. Ask for rescheduling. That's fine. It will happen eventually, and it becomes a topic of conversation.
I love that tenacity. And you're so right. Just like in business, we have a meeting with a prospect and we've planned for this. The prospect has to cancel. Something comes up. Have we just given up or do we rebook? Of course, we're going to rebook and follow that through. So, Shirin, today it's so much different than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or before that. You have online, you have all the different social platforms that are going on. And where I'm going with this, it's very easy on the one hand to begin to add names to a so called network. But to your point, it's really the challenge is keeping that network going, being active. And it's not what I want from you. I like your suggestion of, hey, what are your goals? Let me share my goals. Why don't we see how that's going? Perhaps we can check in with each other and where all that's going to be going. But at the same time, I know networks can become really, and well, I'm keeping this person here just in case one day I may want to have something in that area, and it just becomes overwhelming. And now when we look at our network, and even if we reserve the time in our calendar, I'm going to do this weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, quarterly, whatever the case may be, there's way too many contacts. So when we're honest with ourselves, just like you have people who hoard different items in their house and you can't walk around in their house, I know it's easy to do that on the network side. So what would be some strategies to be open, honest with ourselves? Okay, Jeffrey, yeah, you sure you have this network here. You've changed, your business has changed, and that person back then was terrific. And I'm sure they're a wonderful person. Today, though, probably not there. Thoughts on that?
I always give strategies and models and all of that. With this one, I want to offer something else. I go by heart. And when we were kids, when we were in school or playground, if we liked someone, we used to take our lunchbox and sit next to them and say, hey, I'd like us to be friends. Maybe we can share some of our food. And we used to just sit and enjoy that and be clearly stating that we wanted friendship with them. And I connect this concept of friendship for another reason in a minute, which is about mental health in our age and in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the question that you ask is, okay, it's too many. I don't know how to maintain it, and how would I go? I would go with heart.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you really like to hang out and hear their voice, see their face on your screen, or pick up the phone? Who
Mm-hmm.
comes to your mind? It's a very simple thing, but that's a reality it's just the core of human beings. When we grow up, we lose that ability of friendship and making
Mm-hmm.
friendships. Why? Because of all these reasons that we said. There are three things needs to be there for forming a friendship in adulthood, and it's harder. It's time spent together, interest, and then alignment of goals
Mm-hmm.
in life.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, when these three things are not in place, the friendship is not there, won't form, or if it's like there was an older one, it doesn't get deeper. So the short answer to your question, how do I know who do I want to connect? Ask your
Mm-hmm.
heart. Who do you enjoy? Who, hang out with? And then tell them. Look, the number of times that I've told client, have you mentioned to so and so that you would like to hang out more with them? Let's
Mm-hmm.
create an opportunity. That's number
Mm-hmm.
one. The second thing that I would share, and this is really genuinely important, is that for our mental health, particularly men's mental health, it is important that we go beyond networking and seeing, okay, what are other emotional needs we need that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be met via maintaining our network.
Yeah, so interesting. You know, what you're talking about here, Shrin, this is tried and true. This is the best practice that is ageless, it's timeless. It's very much needed because we've lost that North Star. And I love what you're sharing. It's forget what can you get out of that quote unquote relationship. Do you enjoy being around that person? When you're speaking with them, are you laughing? Are you enjoying? Is it a change of pace for you? And even if there's nothing in it for either of you on the business side, but you enjoy each other's company, each other's time, there's value in and of itself with that. From a mental health perspective, you're coming out happier. Wow, I was busy. I am sure glad I took the time to meet out with that person and I was laughing and we were catching up. And it's something that we don't really hear enough of because it's so transactional. Going back to how we started the conversation, okay, Shirin, what can Jeffrey do for you? Or Jeffrey, what can Shirin do for you? And that's how we're looking at things. But we're taking a step back. Is there a chemistry there? Is there a friendship there? Even if it's every once in a while that you're still keeping in touch, but there's something meaningful there. So I really like that advice that you're sharing with us and what you're putting out there. Shirin, let me ask you this because we're starting to bump up into our wrap up mode here. But before we go in there, my goodness, from the book that you've done, the programs that you've created, there are so many questions that I could ask that I didn't have a chance to ask. Is there one question that comes to mind that I didn't ask, or even a topic that we haven't covered, or perhaps a message that you'd like to share with the Deep Wealth community before we go into wrap up mode?
What I would say, majority of my work is for futuristic, caring, and ambitious people. So let me
Mm-hmm.
explain this triangle. People that
Yes.
they want to take us to the future and they want to actively build the future. People that are caring for people and planet.
Mm-hmm.
And traditionally, this group of people were either these greeny, softy, cushy, lovey people that they weren't the business people.
Mm-hmm.
And also people that they are ambitious and driven, which traditionally would have been the wolf of Wall Street to get to the result at any cost. So how could we be the leaders of the corporates or businesses that we own that
Mm-hmm.
is futuristic, caring, and ambitious?
Mm-hmm.
This is hard because you have to always balance profit and consideration for bigger picture. And I do like a good challenge. And majority of my clients and my people that they want to land higher profile roles or they want to transition out and do something bigger than they just 9 to 5. They all have these three characteristics in common. Bigger challenge because you have to think more and come up with more innovative solutions. But what I want to say is that all of this is to leave the planet better than we found it. And how can we do that is by being the leaders. This was the
Mm-hmm.
whole essence of the book. I actually, it's a funny one, Jeff. I started to write the book as Lead the Transformation.
Yes.
I was like, okay, so if they want to lead a transformation, they need to get to the position.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, you can't change anything. So then I wrote had to land a job and navigate 80% of hidden job market. And I was like, how could you land a job and not being like constantly like this hamster searching for this and that? So I was like, okay, let's level up so
Uh-huh.
you can be seen. And then you will be able to land and then you can make the change, lead the change. So that's the story. It was actually reverse writing.
Love that. I love that. Before we go into rapid mode, as you're talking about that, Trin, you had me thinking because earlier, and you referenced this, and I completely agree. When you look at someone, you mentioned this entrepreneur that's incredibly successful. And when we look at people, especially with social media, they're successful, they have terrific companies, their lifestyle looks over the top. What we don't see, and perhaps Deep Wealth Nation, this resonates with some of you, is perhaps there's some self doubt or there's some fear, or they're lacking some clarity, or even fulfillment. And it's not necessarily on the networking side, but perhaps it is. What do you do in that kind of a situation where on the surface you can check all the boxes? Yes, I've got this success. Yes, the company's this size. My lifestyle is terrific. I'm just not feeling happy, or I'm not so sure about myself, or I'm just not confident. How can we address that? What does that look like?
That is probably number one question of that I get asked by our
Yes.
prospects. However, it doesn't come up as the number one as the starting point of the conversation.
Yep.
They all start with, I don't know what I want to be doing when I grow up.
Yep.
Why? Because these are executive and senior managers that they have battle scars. They are very capable action
Yep.
taker, decision makers. But what is missing is, okay, the direction as what is the next thing for me. And most of the time, they even don't want a higher pay. They
Hmm.
already, the mortgages are paid, investment properties in place, shares and bonds been taken care of. Kids have grown up somewhat and
Hmm.
they're not in immediate help. So the type of work we do it in this space is really, truly, Jeff, really internal work. So that's the part that we start really going deeper and finding out what is the meaning of the things that gives them meaning and
Hmm.
purpose, because it really varies person to person, leader to leader. It's not something that you can just run a exercise and workshop.
Hmm.
So in that space, which we normally don't time box it because we
Hmm.
need to allow them to come up with the answer. And there are methods to guide leaders through this process. They will find out what is the next best thing for them. And from there, there are some really interesting, sometimes radical pivots,
Yes.
sometimes level ups happen that is significantly different to what a normal trajectory of career would have been.
I got that. Okay. Yes. Love what you're saying. Hey, Jeffrey, there's no magic bullet. Do the work. I've got the system. You need to apply the work and you can go within and address that. And I got to share with you, Shirin, not just myself, people in the deep wealth community, they have been massively successful. Yet, what we find is, despite the success, despite the accolades, even the number of zeros in the bank, we can still feel not fulfilled or not happy or something's missing. So we're always looking to do the work. Couldn't agree more with you on that. And that said, it's a terrific segue for our wrap up. So, Shrin, here on the Deep Wealth Podcast, it's our tradition, and it's really my honor, my privilege to ask every guest the same question. Here's the question for you. It's a really fun one. I'll set this up for you.
All
When you think
right.
of the movie Back to the Future, you have that magical DeLorean car that will take you to any point in time. So, Shrin, imagine now it's tomorrow morning. You look outside your window. Not only is the DeLorean car curbside, the door is open, it's waiting for you to hop on in, what you do, and you're now going to go back to any point in your life. Shirin, as a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time it would be, what would you tell your younger self in terms of life lessons or life wisdom? Or, hey, Shirin, do this, but don't do that. What would that sound like?
All right. Advice to younger Shirin. Do all the things that you are doing. That's fantastic. Just add a little bit of sprinkle of joy to it.
I love that.
I was a hardworking and I still am, and I love it that way. That's
Uh
my
huh.
work-life balance is very different to my sister and my girlfriends.
Uh
That's
huh.
how I like it, and I'm now comfortable with it,
Hmm.
accepting that this is me. But I remember I made things really serious and I
Hmm.
didn't have any time for joy and fun. And I don't know, maybe back then joy and fun wasn't dancing for me, wasn't hiking. But now I would just say find the joy and
Hmm.
allocate time for joy and sprinkle it throughout your life. That's the only thing I would say.
I love that. Sprinkling some joy in all areas of our life is a wonderful message. And Shirin, before we officially wrap this up, somebody has a question. They want to speak with you. They want you to take them on as a client to help get them to the next level. Where's the best place online to find you?
Honestly, LinkedIn. I can give
Okay.
you my website and all of that. Yes, those are all the good channels. And
Hmm.
yes, I always am available in those ones. But LinkedIn, I literally live in LinkedIn. And that is the only channel that is managed by myself, not my EAs, not my team. That's myself. So that's a safe place that they can directly access me. I can talk to people. I actually talk to a lot of people.
Hmm.
And yeah, and we take it from there.
Love that. Deep Wealth Nation is all in the show notes. It's a point and click. It does not get any easier. Well, Shirin, it's official. Congratulations. This is a wrap. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribe, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.